Hey everybody, it's Mike and Denise. We are back again on our daily walk for our vigorous aerobic exercise, and we're going to give our review and comment on the plant-based news. Denise has found another article, something that she was interested in today, that deals with weight loss, and not just weight loss, because everybody out there, no matter who you are watching, you may probably need to lose weight because that's how most people are. It's like a constant battle. But some people choose the pharmaceutical route, and that's what this is about, right?
Yeah.
So
this is published in Glamour magazine, April 27th of this year by Danielle Signe, and it's titled, "I'm on Ozempic. Please stop making me feel bad."
it's a drug, I guess, right? Ozempic.
Ozempic, yeah,
Okay.
it's one of the new diabetes drugs that can also be prescribed for weight loss.
Oh, okay. Because it makes you feel so crappy you don't want to eat.
No,
No?
it suppresses appetite.
Sorry, but I just ate it.
I take semaglutide for my pre-diabetes, which is nearly impossible to treat without medical intervention. And I wish Ozempic critics...
Wait, hold on a second. Right there. Excuse me. We just ate. She says her diabetes is nearly impossible to treat without...
intervention.
Wait.
Pre-diabetes.
Okay. Wait.
She's got high blood sugar, but it's not high enough to be pronounced diabetes yet.
Okay, but intervention, pharmaceutical intervention, or just
she's
trying?
medical intervention.
Medical. Okay, what she's saying, translation is, I need drugs. I must have drugs,
Yeah.
which is not true. Okay, next.
I can't control my eating, therefore I need...
Yeah, because intervention
pharmaceutical.
could be, hey, you get Mike on the phone over here and have him talk to her. But she's not going to do that.
No. She says, I wish Ozempic critics, the most outspoken of whom happen to be naturally thin celebrities.
Naturally. Oh, wait. Hold on. Let's go back already. There's no naturally thin.
Nobody's naturally
Okay. You either have good habits or you don't. Okay? That it's really as simple as that. There's no one can escape bad habits. If you have some really bad habits where you love to eat food that's like a really high percentage of calories and fat, you're not going to be thin. There's no matter what.
I've met like 2 people in my life that can't gain weight no matter what they do, to the point where they're...
Well, have them talk to Mike. Say, hey, Mike, give Mike a call. You eat what Mike says. And then we're going to check after like a month what's happened to them. Because I have a feeling they're just naturally, in quotes, choosing to not eat some of the worst foods.
Yeah,
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, my friend Erica couldn't gain weight. She had chicken legs. People would call her chicken legs, and she cried about it. But
Oh my gosh.
I told her, well, come with me to McDonald's. We'll fix that.
Oh my
she
gosh.
never took me up on my
Yeah,
offer.
well, that's because she didn't want to eat that
Maybe she
stuff. That's
doesn't-
why she didn't. That's why she couldn't gain the weight. It's really as simple as
Yeah,
that.
maybe she doesn't like McDonald's.
Yeah, I mean, it's all habits. It's all habit based. Some people, no 2 people's habits are the same. Just like no one's the same fully person. Every person's different, but almost everyone's identical genetically. So it's all of the habits that change what you look like and the way your genes are expressed, actually. I talk about this in the book, Live to 150 at liveto150.org. It's totally free. Go ahead.
So I'm not afraid to get personal online. I've written about couples therapy, scheduling sex, and getting diagnosed with herpes. But I'm terrified to admit that I take Ozempic. In fact, I'm so scared that I've put off writing this for weeks, during which I deeply regretted pitching in the first place. Despite this fear, I know that what I have to say is important, so I'm seeking it through. In return, all I ask is for you to hear me out and complain on Reddit later.
We're complaining right now.
Yeah. You're probably sick of hearing about weight loss injections like Ozempic, the diabetes drug that's
So it's an
gone viral.
injection.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a once-a-week injection.
I don't know anything about this stuff. I'm learning about it all right now while we're reading.
It's the diabetes drug that's gone viral for allegedly being misused as a celebrity get thin quick hack. This isn't exclusively to snarky parts of the internet either. The injections are literally being advertised on the New York City subway, a fact about which many people and celebrities like Sophie Turner are openly upset. I would be upset too. I can't believe the pharmaceutical industry gets away with this.
Money, wherever they can make money. It's very hard to make money off of people just telling them to change their habits,
Right.
because that doesn't require any money at all or anything other than simply adjusting what you choose to do during the day.
Yeah. Obviously, I understand. I've written endlessly about the harms of diet culture, glorifying thinness, and well-meaning body shaming. Being forced to face any of the aforementioned phenomena on your commute can be triggering, especially if you've recovered from an eating disorder.
Yeah, and let me mention, I guess this is all related, but the word body shaming, 2 words is there. I've definitely experienced this. The problem is that you can't say literally anything and then someone considers it body shaming. Like if I'm to just discuss like the concept that we're discussing now, where your habits determine what you look like, aka your weight and other things, whether you have diabetes, pre-diabetes, whatever. Some may consider that body shaming. Okay, like if I'm suggesting you just need to change your habits or should change your habits, you're basically saying that you have a problem with the way I am. And I'm like, well, no, if you're saying you have a problem, but the thing is, or if I make an absolute statement by saying, well, here's the optimum diet for human health, or here's what's best for humans. Someone might also say that's body shaming, because they're like, oh, this person doesn't do that. Yeah, they're really overweight, but don't ever suggest that what you're saying applies to them or it's body shaming. So I think that could be a subject of a whole other video, because I don't have any intent of body shaming. I have intent of helping people. And if you can't discuss what's actually going on without it being labeled something like that, we're just in a bad spot right now.
Yeah. No one should feel that they need to change their appearance or lose weight if they don't want to, but I know this is a polarizing take. I do think people have the right to do those things if they want. These medications exist and are prescribed for a reason. Countless people depend on them to treat a wide range of chronic conditions, which can and often does include type 2 diabetes. But
okay, hold on. What she said earlier is that even if you're diagnosed with a disease like type 2 diabetes or something like this, or even if you know you need to lose weight, you don't have to do anything about it, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of what it said, what I heard. I just want to make sure I heard that correctly. Which is true. I mean, the reality is, if I talk about my book, that most people abuse themselves by making the wrong choices constantly, and that type of abuse is legal. And that kind of says what she's saying there, which is basically, hey, if I realize I have all these issues and I don't want to do anything about it, it's totally fine. And it is in our society right now. It really is. I agree with that statement.
So they're there to treat chronic conditions, including type 2 diabetes, but pre-diabetes, obesity, and polycystic ovary syndrome, or PCOS, and binge eating disorder too. That's what these drugs are being prescribed for.
Okay.
I was personally prescribed it for pre-diabetes and obesity. So if someone decides, along with their doctor, that taking Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Saxenda, or Trulicity is the right treatment plan for them, following this medical guidance should not and does not inherently make them a bad person.
Okay, okay. Before we even listen to the rest of this, that is totally meaningless. Good or bad person. I know it's really big in society nowadays, but if you think you know what a good person is or a bad person is, please define that in the comments below.
Didn't let me finish the sentence.
Okay, all right.
The sentence is calling someone a bad person who's stealing medication from people with diabetes who actually need it.
Right, but again, what's a bad person? What's a good person? Don't get hung up on that. That is totally meaningless.
Yeah, yeah. And they do not deserve to have countless critics who denounce the drug's use, wishing harm upon them. More on that below. It always felt so unfair, living the lifestyle of a body I could and would never have. Especially since most of this judgment comes from people who don't understand these meds. If such is the case for you, I'd like to clarify a few things. First and foremost, I technically take Wegovy, which is the same medication as Ozempic. They're just brand names for
generic
semaglutide in different doses.
Okay.
Think of it like extra strength Advil versus Motrin. and how they're both ibuprofen.
Right.
Ozempic is FDA approved for the treatment of type 2 diabetes, but Wegovy was developed and FDA approved for the treatment of obesity, and it's a higher dose. This means that taking Wegovy for weight loss is using it exactly as it's intended and not stealing from anyone.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the stealing is, because the pharmaceutical companies are more than happy to make as much of these drugs as anyone will pay money for.
Yeah.
No one's stealing anything from anybody.
Yeah, but think of like a type 2 diabetic who can't afford their insulin.
Yeah, but okay, but that type 2 diabetic needs to change their habits. Okay? The pharmaceutical companies are not offering a fix for you. They're just offering a bandage until you figure out how to do better. And of course, most people don't think you ever can, but I can, and just read it in the book, live to150.org.
Second, what do you think happens if you don't treat pre-diabetes?
It's bad.
It becomes real type 2
Sure.
diabetes. Should I wait until I get it so you will approve of my taking it then?
How about you just change your habits, which is the root of what's actually going on. It has the potential to heal and cure the habits, what you do every day. And taking a pill, that habit is not going to affect whether you have that disease or not. It's just going to moderate your symptoms.
Ozempic is also not the same thing as insulin, which is often a medical necessity for diabetes type 2, while GLP-1 meds are supplemental treatments that helps increase insulin sensitivity. Even doctors don't believe in declaring that certain groups require these drugs more than others. It's really difficult to say someone needs a medicine more than another person when they both have indications for these medicines.
Yeah, actually, according to me, no one needs it. You need someone to teach you how to change your habits. That's what's needed. The pharmaceutical is the want. It's like, I don't want to change my habits. I want the pill. What you need is to change your habits.
Well, if you've destroyed your pancreas, you do need insulin.
Okay, well, do you think the author is alluding to that situation, though? I don't think so. I don't think that this person is beyond that, has reached that stage. The author hasn't indicated it in any way that that's the case.
She's saying that she needs this medication just as much as someone
who has
full-blown
Yeah,
type
they
2
all want it.
diabetes.
Yeah, I get it.
She doesn't want type 2 diabetes.
Well, that doesn't, okay, I'm just translating. She doesn't want to change her habits.
Spencer Nadolsky, DO, an obesity and lipid specialist physician and the medical director of the online weight management program Sequence, tells Glamour, both those with type 2 diabetes and obesity have immense benefit from these medicines. I don't think it's fair to say one group is taking away from the other.
Yeah, I would agree.
Before starting Wegovy, I spent 18 months working with an endocrinologist on drastic lifestyle and diet changes.
Uh-oh, here we go. But I guess according to Wilford Brimley in these commercials, it just didn't work. The diet and lifestyle just didn't work for me.
I cut out sugar and carbs, started running, and sliced my daily caloric intake in half. Did my A1C levels improve? No. So if she cut out sugar, she didn't say anything about fat.
Yeah, which is actually what causes the condition. She didn't make no mention whatsoever.
She's talking about sugar. That's not the right
Yeah, it's not at all. It's the same thing. It's managing a symptom by changing a habit, but it's the same thing as the pharmaceutical. It's just managing the symptoms and not addressing what's actually going on.
She says, you might also be wondering why I don't just diet and work out the old-fashioned way. If so, I think it's very cute of you to assume that I, along with everyone else on these meds, haven't spent our whole lives trying to do just that. Before starting Wegovy, I spent 18 months...
Need the right motivation.
...working on drastic lifestyle changes. Her A1C didn't change. Actually, sometimes it got worse.
Yeah, and we don't know what these were. I haven't overseen any of this. Obviously, there's no evidence given as to exactly what was done there.
So, such has been the case for me during my entire life, and for many other patients currently taking GLP-1 and agonists, the umbrella medical term for injections like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. People fail to understand that obesity isn't just caused by what you eat, but by internal workings of your body. If it was something
Yes,
I
it's at
could
the cellular
control,
level. Okay, here we go.
I'd be
So
controlling it without medication.
So this is where I have an issue with almost everybody's explanation. They claim it's outside of their control. Now, they may not have the right motivation. They may not have learned how to set goals properly and how to achieve them. And I would believe that because really nobody is taught that. And that's actually all in my book too. So check it out.
So it says Diana Elderman, a 43-year-old food and travel writer taking Mongiorno. It's so incredibly difficult to lose weight without Mongiorno. I was biking 14 miles a day, eating clean, whole food and plant-based meals, and it was nearly impossible to budge the scale. So,
Well, did she say if she was eating a lot of nuts, seeds, and avocados in there? I'm just curious. Did she say that she was eating, made sure that there was no oil whatsoever in her food?
because oil is plant-based.
See, there's a lot that is unknown. It sounds like, oh, this person did the best they could, and we just got to cut them a break. But you don't know enough. We don't know enough.
So many people have this idea that people who are obese are lazy and don't care, and it's just false. Similarly, if I don't strictly monitor my calorie intake and burn at least 600 calories with my cardio a day, I actively gain weight. What my body requires to maintain its status as a regular, fully functioning, healthy body is equivalent to what I imagine some athletes live like. It always felt so unfair living the lifestyle of a body I could and would never have.
Wait, let me explain that. So in other words, this person has to be hyper-focused on their own food intake in order to do well. That's what I'm hearing them say.
She has to work out like an athlete, but never look like one.
No.
She's not talking
Okay, first of all right, maybe I missed this. If she's talking about working out, you cannot out-exercise a bad diet. So that's totally wrong. If she's talking about hyper-focusing on the food that she's taking in, which is, basically being really, really concerned about what the fuel you're putting in your body, like an athlete, because obviously athletes have to do that, right? They're not going to perform at their best. Well, then she needs to do that. I mean, that's no big suffering there. I don't think there's no, and the benefits will be that you don't have the disease. Okay, so that right there, that whole line of logic, I just do not subscribe to. And actually, I don't even think it's the truth. It's not the truth of what's going on with everyone else. It's not the truth of what's going on with that person, but a lot of people just believe that stuff, and it takes away all their motivation to do anything.
But the worst part of it all, the food noise. I was always thinking about food, especially since, as noted above, I had to live in a state of slight starvation.
Let's go get some guacamole and chips and a steak and everything else. That's what she's thinking about.
Well, she was probably starving because she was eating stuff with oil in it. It's not filling.
That's true. Yeah, you're doing it wrong. We've seen this too. Let me reiterate. The ex-vegans, in my opinion, almost everyone is doing the nutrition wrong, and they're suffering. They are, and they get better when they start eating animal products. But that's a whole other video.
So since she was starving for maintenance, this resulted in a lot of binging, which only made me feel worse in the long run.
Okay, well, as we know, starving is no longer defined by us as starving. It's the healing mode. It's when things start to improve. So the minute you get out of that, you're not healing, you're going in reverse. I guess you can call it binging because that's a popular term, and it is what's really going on, but the reality is you're off of your treatment program, which is fasting. Fasting or caloric restriction does heal the body in most cases.
And yes, I tried therapy and have been in it since I was 18. Lots of us have. I've struggled with my weight 18? My entire
How old?
life.
What's the age of this person?
She's 43.
Okay, so this is the importance of reading my book, Live to 150 at liveto150.org. It's the manual for life, and I didn't have it growing up. Thankfully, I was just weird and different, so I didn't do all that stuff for the most part. You'll read more about it in the book, but it's important that everyone gets this because listen to her story here.
Actually, this girl's 33, but they switched people that they were interviewing.
Okay, but either way, listen to her story. She struggled her whole life. You know why? Because she was not taught the right habits from an early age, even before she was born. You know how hard it is to train a pet if you don't do it when they're young, or a kid, on anything. you've got to get an early start to make sure that you're going to get what you want out of life, is the bottom line.
So, deeply suffering from a binge eating disorder, I tried diet, exercise, and therapy for my disordered eating. Nothing could shut off the food noise in my brain. Selena, a 33...
I talk about that. I talk about that in the book about what you feed your mind. Very important. Who you hang out with. Very important.
A 33-year-old taking Mongiorno tells Glamour, GLP-1 medication has given me back control over my life. My mental health has never been better than the past 4 months taking this medication.
Yeah, well, you know why? Because temporarily, at least, you're getting results. You're actually healing somewhat inside because you're not eating all that crap that you should never have been eating. And of course, from a mental standpoint, you feel like you're achieving success, right? So I get it. It all makes sense to me. The problem is it's only temporary.
This drug suppresses appetite by giving you extra like an insulin sensitivity. So it's not giving you cravings.
Okay. But I still don't think it's a long term. I think it's the short term, and I can see why you're going to get the short term results. But it's just like any drug or druggie, or you got to keep chasing a bigger high type of a thing.
Yeah, there are side effects too.
Yeah, that too.
As one of the
oh my gosh.
likely outcomes. Diana experienced the same. For the first time ever, the food noise stopped. I don't think about food all the time anymore, and my binge eating disorder went away, she says. It's released me from the chokehold.
How long has she been on this?
4 months.
4 months. Okay, so we're hearing about her at month 4. I would like to hear from her at year 4 and see how she's doing.
Maybe after she loses her weight, she doesn't have to take it anymore.
No, but because that hasn't addressed the habits. It's like people who get the stomach stapling or the gastric bypass. It doesn't take long till they're back into the same issue all over again.
Yeah. So it's released me from the chokehold food has always had on me, from the fear of gaining weight because I ate only one thing that isn't considered healthy. It's helped me to develop a far healthier relationship with food and how I judge myself for what I eat. I couldn't agree more. In fact, some nights I cry because I feel so free. Going to dinner with friends is no longer stressful.
I can see that. I can see that. I can see all. But keep in mind, only 4 months, right? She's only 4 months into this.
Yeah.
All right.
I stopped mapping out snack stations upon leaving the house.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think it's a coincidence that I was finally able to stop taking Klonopin for panic attacks after starting this drug.
Okay, so she's got other mental health issues. I wasn't aware of that until right now, but that's a whole. We have to reframe this whole thing, knowing that now.
Which is something I hadn't been able to do in 12 years. I'm deeply embarrassed to admit any of this and to acknowledge that food has so much power over me that I have to inject my left thigh every week with a medication that makes my brain work properly. I wish I weren't embarrassed about this, but I am.
But it doesn't. Wait, let's hold this. It does not make her brain work properly.
No.
It simply cuts off the desire for the bad things.
Yeah.
Because if her brain was working properly, it would recognize that all you got to do is eat mostly whole plants, low percentage of calories from fat, no added sodium, all this stuff, right? And you wouldn't need any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not making your brain work properly.
And considering how people taking GLP-1 meds are treated, it's not like you can blame me. People would say that I'm lazy, that I'm taking medications from diabetics, that all these diabetic people can't get their medications because of me, that I'm causing cancer.
No one's saying that. This is just something where she must realize on some level internally that this is not the right way to handle this. And I can see she's already had other mental issues, she says. I can see where this is going with her.
Just ask Dana Omari, a content creator and licensed dietitian who chronicled her experience taking compounded semaglutide for vanity weight loss. Wait,
what's the difference between vanity weight loss?
Well, when you're not pre-diabetic, you just want to lose weight to look good.
Okay.
The compounded form is essentially off-brand Ozempic mixed in a compound pharmacy and therefore not taking the meds away from others or contributing
no
to
one's
any
taking the med.
shortage
No,
on
no, no, no,
Instagram.
no, no, no. The pharmaceutical companies will always make more. That's how they make their money. There's no
their
shortage.
supply is limitless.
Yeah.
But strangers are constantly berating her via DMs for taking the drug. People would say that I'm lazy, that I'm taking medications from diabetics. That's all these diabetic people can't get their medications because of me, and that I'm causing cancer, she says. I've also
Causing
been,
it because of the side effects of the drug? Is that what she's saying?
No, because
No.
diabetes, people who are obese often get cancer. It's
Okay,
one
I
the
got you.
risk
Of course,
factors.
definitely. Well, so she's not even recognizing that the medication itself may be causing cancer in her own body.
No.
Okay.
I've been accused of being a shill for Novo Nordisk for Ozempic. They regularly tell her they hope she gains the weight back. That's horrible. Keyboard warriors are no kinder to others taking these medications, regardless of why.
Keyboard warriors, gotta love them.
Yeah, and maybe she's on Instagram. Last week I saw an Oprah Daily Instagram post promoting a story by a writer who took Ozempic.
You gotta talk louder as we cross over the bridge
The
and
literal
beyond.
first sentence in the piece was, I've been taking Ozempic for about a year and a half for my type 2 diabetes, and people still tore her to shreds in the comments, accusing her of stealing from people with type 2 diabetes.
Okay, if I was to read in the comments and digest them and internalize them, I would probably need to be on Klonopin as well, okay? Because these are just people. They could be bots for all she knows. It could be Chat GTP, okay? You just gotta just forget all that stuff. If you're not willing to put anything out in the open, then or get any feedback at all, then don't put anything out in the open.
It's become a trigger impulse to berate people taking these drugs with no further consideration given to what the context might be. Some celebrities have even shared misinformation about the meds, confusing them with completely different compounds. But a top fear of trolls, Amari notes that many public figures don't disclose that they take GLP-1 meds. They're ashamed of it.
There's a disclosure law. They have to disclose this.
No, they don't.
Usually what I hear is no one wants to talk about their actual health issues, and definitely you will never see my medical records because it's all private. So I'm not sure where that's coming from.
We have made it that if you are good, you're a good person.
Oh, here we go again.
Do
Oh my
the right
gosh.
thing.
That's how you know if you're a good person or not, if you do the right thing. I don't know what that means.
If you take care of yourself, you shouldn't be fat. Weight loss should just come to you.
Really? That's how it works.
Yes.
I had no idea. But if you take care of yourself, you need to learn the good habits, as we said. Hopefully I'm sounding a little crass, I know, because the world is so screwed up and I'm tired of it. So what she's saying, I will translate, is nobody taught me the right habits. Yes, if I do the right habits, I will be fine. But I don't even know what they are. So I'm taking my pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. The mentality played a large part in my refusing to try something like Ozempic when my doctor suggested it. I thought it was cheating, that I didn't deserve it, and that taking it was admitting failure. So I let myself suffer, refusing to budge on my stance for another 8 months.
Oh, and by the way, refusing to learn new habits, better habits that would actually heal this process of type 2 diabetes.
During which I continued to hopelessly diet and eat like a sad rabbit as my A1C levels remain stagnant.
Rabbit food.
I
There
don't
it
think
is.
she was eating rabbit food.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Because
Rabbits, yeah. Oh my
so
gosh.
if the drug helps people lose weight by decreasing their appetite and they don't change their eating habits, they just eat less, what makes them think they couldn't just eat less without the drug and have the same results? I don't think the drug is...
Well, they can, but they're saying it's an issue of willpower. Okay, but they're saying the willpower issue is just pushing the dinner plate away when you've had enough. But that's only part of it. That's what they don't understand. And that's actually not even the most effective part. The most effective part is making sure you're not eating foods that make it even harder to do that push away of the dinner plate.
Yeah, but I believe that insulin actually helps you metabolize your food. So it's not just willpower and lack of appetite.
Well, it becomes a downward spiral or a vicious circle. Okay, I agree. It's like what's it? The metabolic syndrome, basically. It's all part of the metabolic syndrome, if you're familiar with what that is.
Yeah. So it wasn't until Marie started posting about her experience with semaglutide that I started to come around and to appreciate how nuanced the circumstances really are. In total, it took 18 months of back and forth with doctors and people taking GLP-1 agonists for me to start taking Wegovy. This isn't some idea we came up with overnight, and it's not something we're doing to fit into one vintage dress. It's a lengthy process and lifelong lifestyle change.
There, she's on to something.
Yeah,
she is on to something.
And a decision that's not made lightly. And it's one people come to make.
Let me also interject here and say that when people change is when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of changing. That's when that lifestyle change happens. And if you are ready for change, that's what my book is for, but you have to be ready for it. And that's why the first third of it is probably about the psychology of all this. You have to get yourself ready for it.
And it's one people come to make in vastly different ways. Selena, for example, found a woman on TikTok sharing her experience with Mongiorno.
I'm on TikTok. Live to 150, by the way, on TikTok.
Inspiring her to ask her doctor about treatment months later. It took Dana 1 year to actually get her hands on it. And it was ironically Dana's experience that convinced me, even though she openly took it for vanity weight loss, while my actual endocrinologist had been encouraging it for over a year.
Okay, I don't see any difference between vanity and someone who is pre-diabetic or someone who's diabetic for that matter. If they're taking it to lose weight, they're taking it to lose weight. I don't see any difference. I would not make any difference there.
My body has literally made it hard for me to be healthy because conditions like obesity and pre-diabetes
Lisa, run her family?
are not individual choices, but composites of genetics and how our bodies function that are nearly impossible to treat without medical intervention.
Oh my gosh. Okay. No, I'm not, there's no reason for me to I think everybody who's watching this video knows what I would say about that. That is not true. I don't have some super genes. Because I will say, like most of the people in my family have regular and chronic illness, aside from me, okay? So don't think I have super genes.
Yeah, and it's our right to seek it out or not. This is what I wish Ozempic critics, the most outspoken of whom so happen to be naturally thin celebrities who've never been overweight or obese.
Wait, let me also say these naturally thin celebrities, my guess is I totally get the whole eating disorder thing and I wish it didn't happen, but they're probably bulimic or anorexic. They probably are. Yeah. I would not call that naturally thin.
No. The gist is that most people have a strong bias against those with obesity, plain and simple, says Dr. Nadelsky.
I don't think that's true. Most people are overweight or obese at this point in time in 2023. I think that's old news. That's the old way it was.
2/3 of the American population is overweight.
Yeah, right now I get accused of fat shaming. Okay, that's where we are. The pendulum has swung.
Yeah, they don't understand how powerful the biology is at fighting back. If they did, I'd like to think the discourse could be much kinder. Until then, I'll be taking a break from social media.
Oh my gosh. Because she cannot mentally handle it. That's why she's on Klonopin, probably, among other things. It's not just that simple. It's other things. But still, you can't take that stuff personally. You ever heard of the 4 agreements? One of them is never take anything personally. So this person needs to do a little bit of spiritual searching, I'd say.
The first thing I thought of when I saw the title, I'm on Ozempic, please stop making me feel bad. I thought, how much is this drug company giving her to write this article in Glamour? This is one of the most famous beauty magazines in the world.
When was this article published?
Just a few days ago, April 27th.
Okay.
So,
well, what do you think? I don't read the Glamour magazines. The whole pop culture thing, like the good person, bad person, everyone in pop culture is like, they live for the good person, bad person. I'm gotta be on the good person side thing. And everyone I've ever asked cannot define what a good person or bad person is. So I feel like I'm in a foreign country listening to this article. What do you think? Your insight is going to be way better than mine. Just gotta put
I wanted to read about the medical definition of Ozempic.
Oh, okay.
I'm not thinking about pop culture. I'm so totally not into TikTok.
Well, like I said, I'm on TikTok. Live to 150 is the handle at TikTok. So go find us there. It's a little 150 in the red circle, the European speed limit sign. So, and if you're wondering about the book, like why I can say 150, it's because I believe that everyone is taught wrong. Everyone's doing it wrong, with a few rare exceptions that are happening nowadays. New young kids who are just been born. That's awesome. Never happened before. I grew up in the 70s and 80s in a cloud of smoke, basically. Nobody knew what was going on. They certainly didn't know how to teach us right.
Ozempic, according to Google, lowers fasting and post-prenatal blood glucose by stimulating insulin secretion in insulin secretion in glucose. So yeah, when my blood sugar gets low, I get hungry. So if this is
that's normal, right?
Yeah, this is causing people to not feel hungry.
Right. So it's tricking the body. We don't want to trick the body. We want to optimize health. That's what I say. Okay. The question is, how do you do that? And that's why we have the book. I will tell you, this article has it totally wrong. This article is written from a completely different paradigm. And if you want to know the truth, especially about the food, go to chapter 42 in my book. It's called The Food.
So
anything else?
With Ozempic, the insulin secretion rate in patients with type 2 diabetes was similar to that of healthy subjects.
Yeah, I believe it masks. I believe it masks what's actually going on, right?
Yeah.
I believe that. I mean, a lot of what she said, I believe. Whether I think it's true, whether I think it's the best thing for her or anybody else to be doing, that's where we disagree.
So, yeah, I want to watch Elon Musk now. I heard he's on this stuff.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, I wish Elon Musk would reach out to us. He seems, not to say he's doing everything right, because if you're of a liberal political swang, you're probably cursing the fact that I even brought his name up, and you're selling your Tesla as fast as you possibly can. But and for everybody else out there who is not far to one side politically, he's done a lot of great things. What he hasn't focused on is this. The health space, health optimization, right? And it's weird because he says he wants to try to work on all these things that help large amounts of humanity. Well, I can't think of anything besides what we're doing here that helps more people, potentially.
Plant-based.
Yeah, and I've reached out to him. I've said, like, I can help you, or why don't you help us? Whatever. I mean, because at one point he was going to help out different countries who are starving. Actually, he was kind of questioning where the money was going to go. And I'm like, hey, let's get this. Let's get some real health food in these people's mouths. Not just anything, okay? Because even if you solve the starving problem, you got people like this person in the article that now want to spend the rest of their life on pharmaceuticals. And it's a prison sentence either way, I feel like, anyway. Yeah. So, anything else?
So, let us know your thoughts.
Yes, give us a thumbs up. Yeah.
If you're on any of these drugs, we're not trying to shame you, but we're
right, no shame. No, we want health. We want health optimization. We just don't feel that is found in these pharmaceutical remedies, which cannot provide that, and they never promise to.
No.
They never do.
If your doctor isn't asking about what you eat and just prescribing drugs, you have a drug dealer, not a doctor.
Yeah, that's another way to look at it.
Most doctors don't know how to tell you how to eat, but if you follow our channel, you'll find out.
Yes, and you'll watch us. We're traveling all over the place, doing different things. So thank you for being a subscriber. If you're not, go ahead and be a subscriber and give us your feedback, and share with other friends if you don't mind. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye-bye.